Welcome, everyone. I am back after a week hiatus. Southern Comfort is coming at you again tonight. I know it's a different night than what we usually do, but I had some stuff come up yesterday. Wasn't able to do it last night, but here we are again, and I can't tell you how excited I am to be back here. I missed everybody. Last week, I was out of town for work. I had stuff going on in the evenings. Wasn't able to do the show, so I was having withdrawals. So I'm so glad to be back here tonight with everybody. And we're going to give a minute here and let folks tune in. Give some people some time to hop into the chat. And I'm going to make sure all of our streaming stuff is set up. Hey, PW, welcome. Glad you are here. So we are streaming tonight on the PPR channel, on the yobaby channel, on my Facebook, on my Twitter, and on Dustin's Twitter as well. So welcome, everybody. If you're watching on any of those platforms, we're so glad to have you here with us on a Wednesday night. Now, we were supposed to finish this series back in January, but things happen. So here we are wrapping up tonight I don't know how long we've been doing this study on the Necronomicon. I know at least a couple months. So tonight we are wrapping up our study on HP Lovecraft and his infamous Necronomicon. And Bethany will be up here at some point in just a little while to come hang out and tell everybody hello. So I know y'all will be excited to see her as well. Now, a couple things before we hop into the Necronomicon. All right, we are on the last gates. We are on gate 12 and 13. But I did want to bring this to your attention since we have been talking about Lovecraft and we've been talking interspersed here and there about some of his stories and some of the film adaptions that are out there. There has been recently released a new film adaptation for a Lovecraft story. And this one is on Shudder. And I watched it this past weekend, and it was a pretty enjoyable flick. I'm going to put the picture up there of the movie cover, the movie poster. This one is called Suitable Flesh. Now, it is definitely an adaptation because the story that it is based on is called The Thing on the Doorstep. And you can definitely see the influence of the short story in this one. The original short story, we've mentioned the name Daniel Upton before in some of Lovecraft's stories. This one takes place in the Cthulhu universe. And so Daniel Upton, he is the guy narrating the story in The Thing on the Doorstep. And he explains that he has killed his best friend, Edward Derby. And he's kind of writing to show that he's not a murderer. And he goes on and he describes Derby's life and how Derby was interested in the occult. And I'm not really going to ruin it in case you watch the movie and go back and read the story. But the story follows a psychologist who kind of falls in love with one of her younger patients who's involved with the occult. And there is this type of spirit possession, not demonic possession, spirit possession, a spirit of a person that possesses another character in the story in suitable flesh. And they kind of go with that, draw that theme from The Thing on the doorstep. So you can definitely see the influence of the story, The Thing on the Doorstep, which was published in 1933 in one of Lovecraft's pretty popular ones. So this is one, if you have Shudder, you should definitely go check out Suitable Flesh. I would recommend it. It's not one of the best. Like, don't go in it expecting Reanimator or From Beyond. Although I believe one of the guys who was involved with the script, I'll have to go back, but I remembered reading that one of the guys involved with the script for Suitable Flesh was also involved with Reanimator and From Beyond. Hey, Bud Files, welcome to Southern Discomfort. Glad that you were here with us. So check out Suitable Flesh. I wanted to mention that since we have been talking about Lovecraft and his stories and his film adaptations and all of that cool stuff. So the other thing about tonight, kind of give you fair warning of what we are going to be discussing in Gates 12 and 13. Dustin is here. Hey, Dustin. I miss you, buddy. So Gates 12 and 13 are going to have some very, I'm trying to think how to put this, definitely mature content, definitely some very revolting content. So if you have children in the room with you watching this, do not let them be in the room, because there is some definitely mature topics that are going to come up in Gate 12 and 13. And there'll be some other quote unquote trigger warnings that I will throw out there before we discuss them, just to give everybody a heads up, and just want everybody to be prepared for that. And some of the topics that we're going to discuss tonight are very repulsive. We're going to look at some of these things that actually repulsed Lovecraft, and they repulsed him so much that they found their way into his writings. Hey, Kenneth, glad that you're here with us. Hey, Crossover, good to see you in the chat. Let me make sure I haven't missed anybody. Let me scroll through the comments real quick. Okay, I said hello to everybody. Bluegrass, hello. Thank y'all for coming to hang out with us. Yeah, Dustin, be sure to add 18 and older on this particular one, just in case. I don't want you getting a content strike or anything like that. So I should have told you beforehand, man, and I just thought about it like right when we're on here. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're talking about these things. So yes, content warning. This is only for mature audiences. Before we jump into Gates 12 and 13, the other thing I want to mention, today is the 7th of the month. And those of you who have been following along with us on this channel know, hey, Dennis, what's up, man? Glad that you're with us. Know that the 7th of the month means that a new issue of Southern Discomfort has dropped on Godless. We are in season 2 of the stories, and the one for this month, okay, if y'all haven't read any of my stuff before, if you haven't gotten an issue of Southern Discomfort yet, they're only 50 cents. This is the one to get. I'm going to pull the cover up here, and then I'm going to talk about it for a few minutes. This is a story called Phantom War. and it's different in its style. It is it's a completely different style on how I usually write. I have several different styles that I like to write in. This is one of them, and I've been saving it. And so this will be your first taste of it. It's written like an part of it. It's got an epic feel, like Homer's Iliad and the Odyssey. It also has a fantasy feel, a little bit Lord of the Rings feel to it, and it's also horror. So it is an epic fantasy horror. And this particular story, I've been very open and honest with people about my overcoming an alcohol addiction. And this story is a metaphor for that time in my life when I had to battle and overcome my alcohol addiction. And this particular story is one that I wrote while I was in rehab. Now, we all joke, those of us in the literary world, about how, oh, Stephen King was such a better writer when he was drunk and coked up. And so getting clean and sober, I wasn't sure how I was going to write. I was scared to actually try to write. And while I was detoxing in rehab, I was having all of these crazy, vivid dreams of all of these creatures and demons and stuff. And so I began to jot their descriptions down and everything. I'm like, oh, I can use this in a story. And so after one of our sessions in rehab, I decided to actually sit down and try to write. I said, okay, I'm going to give this a shot and see what happens. So I took a notebook that they gave me and a pen, and I just started writing. This fantasy story came to me. And those of you, Bethany, who's on the show with me, she's my fiance. She's also definitely my best friend as well, and she was by my side through all of this. So I wanted to write a story that encapsulated my struggle, but was also a love story. Um, so hold on, Dustin, you texted me. Okay, buddy. I got you. I won't be using, I don't think, any of those words, but I got them. I got them. All right. Dustin giving me a little heads up of some different words to use in place of some other ones, just so we don't get content strikes. But I don't think any of these things will be coming up. So I think we're good, man. But if I do have to use these, I will do what you have said. I got it. But so with Phantom War, I wanted to write a story that really encapsulated the struggle and overcoming it, but was also a love story. So I began to write this epic fantasy about a man with broken white wings fighting his way through a valley filled with creatures and monsters and demons that are real kind of fantasy like, and he is trying to find his way to his lover, who is at their sacred willow tree, and he has to walk through the valley because he can't fly because his wings are broken. So he has to go through this valley and face his foes, and the last foe that he has to face is Abaddon, who is the dragon who has destroyed he and his lovers, the girl with black wings, destroyed their village. And so he is fighting to reunite with her so that they can start over and find happiness in their life again. And so that is the story. It is very raw. It's very emotional. There's a lot of creature violence, a lot of blood and guts, because it is horror. So if there's anything that I would recommend, if you haven't read my writing, start with this one, because not only will you get a different style than what you're probably used to reading in horror, but you're also going to get a glimpse into my very soul and my struggle. So it really kind of brings all that to the forefront. So wanted to make sure you can get that on Godless right now. It's only 50 cents. And it is a love story just in time for Valentine's Day. So you got all kinds of stuff in there. You got raw emotions, you got love story, you've got plenty of violence. You also have those of you who like stuff about psychic abilities, there's things in there as well with it. So just lots of cool things in the story. Yes, Dustin, I like all the phrases you added to the background. I was reading those before I went live, and I was like, oh yeah, man, this is cool. This is cool. This is cool. So yeah, y'all check out our new banner there. Very awesome. Yeah, Dustin, next week is the year anniversary of Southern Discomfort. Can you believe that? It will be an entire year that we have been doing this thing so far. I can't believe that it's been that long. It doesn't seem like it's been a year. Not at all. Also, Dustin sent me a text about this today, a reminder. We wanted to give a shout out to Rock Chick Beauty, who has made some banners for this channel. Dustin sent them to me today while I was traveling for work, and they are pretty sweet, if I must say so. Where are those up at on the channel, Dustin? Are they up there yet? I'll wait for you to answer, Dustin. All right, Dustin just put a link in there in the chat for Rock Chick Beauty. So shout out. Oh, it's already set as a banner. Okay, sweet. It is already set as the banner for the channel. I guess that's why when I'm looking on my phone, Dustin, I should refresh the YouTube page, because I just opened it, because I have it like the channel set on my web browser and my phone. So refresh so I can see that. But yeah, those banners are cool. So Rock Chick Beauty is the one who did those for us. So a big thank you and a shout out for that. Now, with all of that said and done and out of the way, like I said, Bethany's going to be up in a little while, but we're going to go ahead and get into our last two gates of the Necronomicon. I know we've been doing like a haunted location and stuff like that. I will have one for you, hopefully next time. I think actually next week for the 1 year anniversary, I'm going to be out here doing an investigation. But the thing that I have next for us to talk about, whenever I get the time, next time we do a haunted location or object, we're going to be talking about Robert the Doll. So that is what is upcoming next time for our haunted location / object. So give you something to look forward to. But without further ado, Yeah, Dustin, we're gonna play that new video that you made for her whenever she comes up. We'll get it on, make her feel loved and welcome, and we'll do her intro music as well. So, but yeah, Robert the Doll will be upcoming. So let's go ahead and jump into the 12th and 13th gate. Hey, Christina and son, welcome to the chat. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out with us. The 12th gate. Okay. This one is the one with the content warning. The 12th gate of the Necronomicon is what has been termed the abomination. Hey, Tex, welcome. Glad that you're here in the chat with us. And there's Dennis. So yes, gate 12 is what has been labeled the abominations. Now, when we look at all of the different abominable things that Lovecraft mentions in his stories and in the whole Necronomicon mythos, there's some pretty intense and gross things, which is why they are called abominations. Lovecraft used his horror, rather than like strictly defining things, he kind of left them a little mysterious, and he conjured up these things in the depths of his soul and his imagination, and some of the adjectives he used to describe these abominations, he used words such as cosmic, cyclopean, tenebrous, blasphemous, unholy, squarmish, noisome, loathsome. All of these adjectives to describe these abominations that he was getting ready to lay on you. Now, Lovecraft, he also had this this fascination with graveyards and tombs and corpses. We've mentioned before about how he liked to go to the graveyards and how some of these things come out in his stories, and his dreams a lot of times, like he had this fascination, if you read some of his stories, of descending into graves, like going down into these catacombs, like these flight stone steps that open up to where the dead are, or even what we would call the undead. Hey, Luke, welcome to the chat. Glad that you're here with us. So fascination with graves, catacombs, tombs. He had this idea of all of these tunnels running under the city and the graves, and being able to walk through them and travel through them. So graveyards are going to be associated with some of the abominable things in the 12th gate. Necromancy. All right, dealing with body parts and the substance of corpses, and the reanimation of the dead. Right, those of you who have seen Reanimator, right, that's based on one of the abominations of Lovecraft. One of the things that was a great horror to him, this reanimation. You also see some of the stuff deals with the consumption of human flesh. And so he always talked about these things not in a way to glorify them, but as a way to show how repulsive they were, to actually be an abomination. Now, the other thing that we see when it comes to abominations is his description of all the alien creatures and their simple otherness. The way that he describes their insect eyes, and Cthulhu with the tentacles and the bat wings and the snake skins, like all of these things were meant to put horror and shock in the minds of his readers. And it's an abomination in a fleshly way, that he would combine things that aren't natural in nature as a way to shock his audience. Now, a third kind of abomination that we find in Lovecraft's Necronomicon and in his writings is human sexual perversion. Not only human sexual perversion, but also this degeneration in morality and a absolute descent into madness. So Lovecraft, the abominations were graveyards, necromancy, these alien things, and then just the total degeneration of the human in their sexuality, in their morals, and in their mental state. And so that's kind of what we're looking at here with Lovecraft. One of, all right, content warning for what I'm about to talk about. One of the most shocking and repulsive things that Lovecraft ever wrote was a story. And when this story was published in Weird Tales magazine, the magazines he wrote for, it caused an absolute uproar. And people were coming out left and right and condemning this story. And we all know what happens when people rise up like that and they start condemning works of art or works of literature. What happens to it? It blows up, and it makes it successful. And this is what happened with Weird Tales. It was dying out. And then all of a sudden, Lovecraft comes and he writes this controversial story. And it was in 1924, and it was called The Loved Dead. And he wrote it in connection with another author. And the main subject of this story was necrophilia, right? Sex with corpses. And when this came out, it was a daring topic. Like, it's not so much daring anymore. We kind of hear of it and see it more often in horror and other genres. They had the 80s movies that came out, Necromantic, that were highly condemned because of dealing with the subject matter of necrophilia. You have the latest thing that is out, Saltburn. The movie Saltburn on Amazon has a scene of that in there as well. But you can imagine, in 1924, a story comes out about having sex with corpses and necrophilia. And it was just like, oh my gosh, what is this? And Lovecraft wasn't doing it as a way to glorify it, but to show the degeneration of the human condition to a point that someone would stoop and do such an abominable act. So for Lovecraft, he could not imagine anything more horrific and degrading and degenerate than doing that particular act with a dead body. And so it was just unheard of at that time for this to be a subject of a story. So he underwent a lot of flack for that, but it made him popular, and it really boosted the sales for Weird Tales magazine. So this is kind of what we're looking at with abominations, things like this. Another noteworthy story is the lurking fear, and they actually made a movie of this. It's on Tubi if you want to watch it. It's not great, but it's not horrible. Um, but this one, the lurking fear, is about a mansion in Catskill Mountains, and through, I don't remember what it was, like centuries of this type of vicious inbreeding that's going on in this castle. What happens is all of the adaptations that take place through the inbreeding, it creates this type of subhuman creature. And they dwell in this mansion, and they feed on the flesh of humans. So again, this was another type of abomination for Lovecraft that comes out in the lurking fear, dealing with incest, the mutation of the human body, and eating of human flesh. Okay, crossover, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. I definitely appreciate you coming by. So there we have it, all of the abominations. And when you read through the stories like the lurking fear, the dead loved, and a couple other ones, you see certain places where these abominations take place. He mentions such places as the abyss, where a lot of these horrible things take place. Another thing that is a sign of an abomination for Lovecraft is the black goat. And if you see a black goat in Lovecraft mythos, then that recognizes for him an abomination. The other thing that we find in Lovecraft is a black mass. Not a lot, but you do see it mentioned. And just the other things that we see mentioned in here. I don't mean any offense to any of my Wiccan friends. He did not present these people in a favorable light, but we see wizards and oath breakers in here as well, in Gates 12 and 13, and they were always presented in a negative light as having broken their oaths and their intent to do harm and evil. And we see that with the Black Mass. Now, for those of you who don't know what a Black Mass is, let me kind of explain it to you a little bit. Like, this isn't a huge in-depth description, but kind of just a little bit of a Cliff Notes version. So it is a very, very occultic ritual, and it is meant to be a parody of the High Mass of the Catholic Church. And so its intention with the Black Mass is it wants to degrade and defile the ritual of the Mass and all of the elements that are used in it. So, for example, in the Black Mass, instead of an altar, the naked body of a loose woman, or I don't know if I can say the W word on here, a prostitute, instead of an altar, the wine is usually urine or blood. The bread is sometimes feces or turnips. And the priest, who is doing the mass is a priest who has been defrocked of his robes. A cross is hung upside down, and the words are recited backwards in a black mass. So the whole thing is meant to be a total defilement of the high mass of the Catholic Church. Now, from what I've read in history, like real genuine performances of this mass, at least that have been recorded in history, were quite rare. And when they were done, it was more done as a sense of entertainment and wasn't really meant to be taken serious. There was no really expectation of conjuring anything or worshiping anything. At least that was the intent of the people who did it. But you do kind of have to wonder, participating in something like that. But that's a whole other subject. So we have this black mass, and we see it mentioned in the Diary of Alonzo Typer in one of Lovecraft's story. This very, very dark religion. So it doesn't come up a lot, but it is in there. And I wanted to mention this because it is something when we maybe think of an abomination, the Black Mass is something that comes to mind. And it came to mind for Lovecraft as well, which is why he included it in his stories. So yes, PW, thank you for that. Zeke doesn't agree with cannibalism or anything he researches on the show. He just does research for education purposes only. Yes. Thank you, PW. That's all I need people to come out and say, right? Oh, the paranormal pastor, he does black mass. The paranormal pastor's into necrophilia. The paranormal pastor supports cannibalism. That's what will be coming next. So thank you for that, PW. Another cool thing I wanted to mention in abominations, we've already talked about the corpse eating cult. We looked at that in the Creeping Flesh, but the other thing is they have these brain cylinders in the Necronomicon and some of Lovecraft's stories. And what they were, it was basically taking the human brain out and putting it in this glass cylinder filled with this kind of liquid stuff. And the brain and everything was hooked up to, it could still see and hear and sense everything around it. So it was like your consciousness being trapped with without a body. Now, we see something similar to this if you have seen the movie Reanimator. That may be the thing that comes to mind. You've got the brains and the jars and the cylinders there in the movie. So something definitely very, very similar to that. So we'll stop there with the 12th gate. We mentioned the alien animal type hybrid things that he mentions. I mean, there's a lot of different abominations that Lovecraft gets into. And we don't have time to go over every single one that is in his writings, but these are some of the ones that I thought were the most interesting and the most shocking. So that was a 12th gate. The astral sign for this 12th gate is Scorpius, or the scorpion, and there is an incantation that is used by those who actually practice the Necronomicon as a religion to open that astral gate. But like I said, we don't give out that information on the show. It's out there if you really want to read it or learn about it or do it. But we're not putting that out there. So before we go into the 13th gate, the final gate of the Necronomicon, any questions, comments from anybody in chat about the 12th gate or anything that any subject we may have brought up? Any of these highly controversial subjects? We'll give you all a minute to chime in before I get to the 13th gate, which is going to be rites and incantations. And give it a minute just to see if anybody has something they want to add or ask about the 12th gate. All right. We'll go ahead and jump into gate number 13. Incantations and rites. These played a big part in Lovecraft. Now, if you remember what we've talked about in past shows, Lovecraft was pretty much ignorant of the occult. He wrote a lot about it, but his real knowledge of the actual practice was not even amateurish, maybe elementary, but it was not broad. Lovecraft was more into the natural sciences. And it's funny. Okay, so when I look at the life of Lovecraft, right, he's into the natural sciences, and he's written in letters how I don't believe in any sort of spirituality. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in life beyond. He none of those things. He was a pure atheistic naturalist, at least in his letters. However, when you look at the writings of Lovecraft, he is obsessed with the occult, with spirituality, with mystery, with things beyond our grasp, things beyond our comprehension. There is this huge dichotomy that I see in Lovecraft. On the outside, right, in here in his mind, he was very, very cerebral. But down beneath in his spirit, it's like he was longing for something that his mind would not let him have. Because you look at his writings, and then you read his personal letters too, and about all of these dreams that he has about these supernatural things and these nightmares and stuff. He definitely seems like a man who was a walking contradiction. But nonetheless, we have what we have. He said what he has said. Now, I believe, and I've mentioned this before, I believe if Lovecraft would have lived a little bit longer and he would have had time, because towards the end, all right, he was kind of getting involved a little bit. He had some interest in these things, but then he died. But he was never able to explore the occult, I don't think, in the way that he wanted to towards the end of his life. His life was cut short. So a lot of the stuff, he just kind of looked up words in the encyclopedia and made them up. And it's the same with a lot of these incantations. He knew nothing about ceremonial magic at all. I tell you, just barely a little bit. But the way that he writes it, you would think that this guy is just immersed in the world of spiritualism and the occult. But he is not. However, he did his best to make what he came up with seem very, very real and very, very plausible. Lovecraft also, he never found his way into any of the grimoires. Like he never studied any of that. Like I said, all he did was look up some stuff in the encyclopedia and run with it. And then he had a little bit of contact we've talked about with with certain aspects of things, but not very much. But when we get to Lovecraft, we find all of these incantations, and he mentions, all right, these wizards and these oath breakers in this context. You're going to, when you go through the Necronomicon, you're going to find incantations and things that were written to summon, to conjure up things of these alien races, and all of these certain things. If you go back and look at what we talked about in gates 1 through 4, all of these different creatures and aliens and demons, all of them had certain incantations that he made up. Now, some of them, for example, what he would do is he would maybe pick a line or a real chant of something, and then he would just kind of run with it and make it his own. And if you didn't know any better, you would think that what Lovecraft is writing, because he's so meticulous in how he wrote these chants, that you would think that this seems real. But Lovecraft himself admits that, no, I made this all up. I made it all up. But you go through, and if you go through all of his writings, and if you find these chants, supposedly, those who hold to the Necronomicon as a real religion and practice it, I know they would believe that, Lovecraft may have thought he was just writing gibberish, but it's really real. It really works. And that's what the mystery and the power is with Lovecraft and the Necronomicon. So whether it's real, whether it's not, that's for you to judge. My goal is just to present you with the information, present you with the history, present you with what Lovecraft himself said. Now, this 13th gate, there's way too many incantations and things to mention. And out of respect for people, I'm not going to read any of the incantations on the show, just because I may not, believe that there's anything to them. Other people might. And, we don't want to have anything like that. And I don't want to give that away. But they are out there. You can find them if you're interested in reading the incantations of Lovecraft. You can get your hands on those. And this 13th astral gate is what is known as the serpent bearer, or Ophiuchus. I believe I'm saying that correctly. Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer, is the 13th gate's astral sign. Yeah, Dustin, thank you for mentioning that again. We've talked about the Real Diaries of Lovecraft being available, and the legal battle over those things and trying to get them published and stuff like that. So yeah, there's definitely stuff going on with that for sure, which, man, I would love to read those. I wish, because what if he changed his mind on some things, right? Just travel down this road with me, okay? What if he did change his mind about things? And what if there are some very personal confessions about that in those journals? I think we would like to know. What if he did start practicing something? What if he did conjure up something? What if he did have some sort of experience. I know I personally would like to know, what if he gives us more information about his folklore and the Necronomicon and his thought process behind some of the things that he had written about. Guess we will never know, because I don't even know if those things are still around, or if they got rid of them or what. Reading the chat. Oh, the family destroyed them? PW? Oh man, I hope that's not true. No. Oh, that sucks. If they really did destroy them, I hope they're just lying about that. Yeah, Dustin, you're right. They don't want something public. That's for sure. There's something in there. Otherwise, why not? We can only speculate, right? But a lot of times speculation is not good. Man, that stinks that if they really did destroy those journals. There goes the hope of ever discovering something new about Lovecraft. I'm gonna read up on that, PW, and see what in the world was going on with that, because that piques my interest now. What are they hiding? What are they covering up? What do they not want us to know? I mean, HP Lovecraft is already freaking mysterious enough, and this just adds to the flavor of it and makes him all the more intriguing for me. Like I said, like I read Lovecraft stuff just all throughout the year. I mean, every year I'm at least reading something of his, because he fascinates me that much. Just as a writer, he fascinates me. As a even as a Christian and as a theologian, he fascinates me. And as someone as myself who's interested in studying all forms of religion and spirituality too, that part fascinates me. His dichotomy fascinates me too. This man's so cerebral and a naturalist, but yet everything he writes is otherworldly and supernatural. And he's obsessed with it and talks about all these the dreams and nightmares and things that he had. So I guarantee you, I would bet my life that those missing pieces are in those journals, and we may never know. That is unfortunate and a shame. So, but that wraps up our study on HP Lovecraft and the Necronomicon. I do hope that y'all really enjoyed this study, and talking about the Necronomicon and talking about HP Lovecraft. I hope you learned some things about him in his writings. I hope that you will be able to go and pick out some of his stories on your own and read them. Yeah, Christina, I'm sure they read them. Maybe I should see if I can get in touch with them. Hey, it's Ezekiel Kincaid, the paranormal pastor. I do this YouTube show on Professional Paranormal Research channel, and we've been talking about HP Lovecraft, and we were just wondering if you could tell us what was in those journals. I'll probably get death threats. Yeah, PW, the Freemasons. We were talking about that earlier today. I hope you do an article on those hauntings in the Freemason temples. I look forward to reading that. That'll be cool. Yeah, Bethany said she is going to try to come up here, so I'm trying to wait on her here a little bit. But if you missed any of our past shows on the Necronomicon, they're all up there. Oh yeah, Christina, that would go over well. Tell them I'm a preacher. Yeah, I'm sure they'd want to. They definitely tell me what was in them, right? Because they probably think I'd be like one of those ultra conservative, hardcore people that would just want to get the stuff just a condemning. But y'all know me better than that. Oh, very interesting, Christina. Wow, he got way high up there. That's cool. Okay, good, PW. Yeah, I want to hear about some of the paranormal stuff that is around or that people have experienced in there. That would be cool. I know, Dustin. We're waiting on her to come up here so we can show that new video for her. But yeah, if y'all haven't checked out, if y'all missed any of the episodes on the Necronomicon, they are all up on the PPR channel and Tanya's channel on the yobaby channel, and you can go back and watch them all. Yes, PW, what is the name of that documentary on Freemasons that you were telling me about that's on Tubi? Go ahead and put it in there in the chat in case anybody else is interested in watching that like I am. Just a reminder, I am going to be doing Thursday's show tomorrow, so we will be back with Immortal Shadows. We are going to still be in the book of Revelation. We're almost halfway through. We're going to be looking at chapter 10 tomorrow night, and it's kind of the interlude between the 6th and 7th trumpets. So we got some cool stuff coming up for that. So be sure to come tune in tomorrow night at 8 Central, 9 Eastern for Immortal Shadows. Freemason Life, PW, okay. All right. Okay, Christina, cryptid legends that go all the way back prior to the 1400s. Oh, cool. Okay, you're doing a video on that next Friday. All right, y'all be sure to go over to Christina and Son Ghost Squad channel. She's going to have a video about cryptid legends that go all the way back prior to the 1400s. So that sounds pretty interesting. Hey, Kill Hut, welcome. Glad that you're here with us. And Dustin said he is making a playlist for all the shows. So that's going to be good, man. Thank you. That's going to be cool having it all in order there. So yeah, we got it all. We're getting it together. So we'll have everything all nice and organized for you. You'll be able to go through all the Southern Discomfort shows, Immortal Shadow shows, which used to be Sunday shots, and then I had to change it the day of the week, and then all of the Haunted and Beyond. So Dustin is hard at work getting it all organized and getting all these cool banners done and stuff. Dustin is on the ball. So thank you for doing that, buddy. Greatly appreciate it. Let me text Bethany and see if she's coming up here. Bear with me. Let's see what she says. I'm going to tell her that, Dustin, that you have a surprise for her. And I'm going to tell her that everybody wants to tell her, hey. So we will await her response. See what she says. But as a reminder, for those who weren't here for the beginning of the show, the 7th of the month is always, oh, crap. You know what, Dustin? She just reminded me I never sent her a link. Can you send her a link, Dustin, so she can get up here? So that is my fault. I'm going to tell her. That's what happens when you work late. You forget, you come in, get ready, sit down, do the show. So I totally forgot to send her the link, y'all. She's not going to let me live that down. Let's see what she says when she gets up here. Because I give her so much crap about stuff and forgetting things. Oh, watch. She's not going to let it go. She is not going to let it go. This will be fun. I'm telling her that I told y'all. All right. You got it? Okay. Thanks, Dustin. We'll see if she pops on up in here. So she can come say hello. Let me text her back. Then why didn't you tell me I forgot to send the link? Yeah, I know she is, PW, but it wouldn't be me and Bethany if I did not give her crap. Like, for those of you who've watched the show for a fair amount of time, when me and Bethany are together, you know that I thrive on that. So let's see. Let's watch her give it back to me. Let's see what she does when she gets on here. Oh, she said, when I texted her, I said, then why didn't you tell me I forgot to send the link? She said, I just told you. That's something I would say to her. She's learning. Oh, no, PW. I don't want to see her like really mad and upset. More like playful mad. I like try to get under her skin and aggravate her. She does it right back. And that's kind of like our chemistry, what we got going on. It's a lot of fun. And it makes things entertaining. So she said she was going to come up. So we'll give her another minute, because I forgot to send her the link. That's the first time I've done that, Dustin. I'm usually pretty good at that. I don't ever forget. Does she make me mad? No, not in any serious way, PW. I don't make her mad in any serious way. It's more like annoying. I like to annoy her and poke at her, like poking the bear. Okay, yeah, Christina. So y'all know what I'm talking about. Haha, that's funny. Yeah, that sounds good, Dustin. We'll have to bring Christina on up here on the panel. That'll be fun. Have her up here with us. I'm telling her. Telling her that y'all are waiting on her. Yeah, I've got the video ready, Dustin. We'll play it as soon as she decides to come up here. Holding everything up. I'm going to go ahead and get it ready. Soon as she comes up, I'm just going to play it. So as soon as I see her in the basement, Dustin, I'm going to bring her up, and then I'm going to hit play on the video. Now she's stalling. I'm reading everybody every text. It's all live on the air. So hurry up. They know you're stalling now. All right, Dustin, I got the video ready. For those of you who haven't seen the intro video, should I play the intro video while we're waiting, Dustin? I'm going to play the intro video while we're waiting. Here we go.
Hello, Bethany. How are you? Tiptoe through the tulips with me.
That's one of them. Here is the intro, and this is Dustin's real voice, y'all, by the way. It is not done through any sort of mechanism, mechanical device, or computer alterations.
Bethany. Hello, Bethany. Say hi to the viewers. Here you go. Enjoy the show.
It's Bethany, everyone.
How long have you been playing that intro?
I just started. It was perfect timing.
Well, better that one than the other one, I guess.
Well, here's one.
Hello, Bethany. I see you.
I hate that.
Oh, I'm sorry I forgot to send you the link.
No, you're not. You did it on purpose.
No, I didn't. I already told everybody to get ready and prepare for you to give me crap for forgetting to send the link.
And yet, if I forget to send you anything, if I forget one thing, you will harp on it until the day I die.
Well, now, to be honest, though, you ignore me all the time.
No, I
So-
don't.
And I don't ever forget anything. This is like the first time.
Oh,
I've
you
ever
forget a
screwed
lot.
up.
No, you forget a lot.
No, I do not.
Yes, you do.
What do I forget? Tell me.
You have forgotten things that I've told you before. You forgot to send me links.
One time I forgot to send you a link. What things have I forgotten that you have told me?
There have been other things that I've told you, and you're like, you never told me that. Or my favorite, you won't tell me something, and you'll swear, Bethany, I told you this. And as God is my witness, no, you didn't.
I did tell you that.
No, you
I
didn't.
did tell it to you. It got lost in that blonde brain of yours somewhere.
I think you've been huffing gasoline too much, trying to kill your roadkill if it's still limping away from you before you cook it for dinner.
Yep. Hey, PW.
Hello, my beautiful PW.
No fair. She's right.
Well, which intro do you like? The new one? The god-awful one with the horns, or the fart one?
Well, the horns, like the playing horns, or Dustin with the ones with the horns?
Oh my gosh. Ugh. I hate the dad play here on all the words for horns.
Well, now, I'm always going to go with the ones with the trumpet because they annoy you so much.
Not even the fart ones that are funny?
Yeah. Oh, PW, I'm just joking. I'm not mad. The fart one, but the story with the horns, the trumpet sounds. For those of you who are new, and if you haven't kept up with Thursday night shows, it all started with the seals. Now, what seals am I talking about? Bethany?
He was reading the book of Seven Seals, and he made the dumbest freaking dad joke, saying, now these are the actual seals and not seals that go arf, arf, and tried to be all cute and funny. And I said, that is the dumbest joke I've ever heard. And so ever since then, he and Dustin have run with it and had all these scenes of biblical seals or demonic ones.
Yep.
And then he said, and then reading the horns from the book of Revelation, and I said, oh, the trumpets, the book of trumpets. And I told him, you should have something really powerful and frightening and endearing. And he and Dustin picked the most corniest, sissiest sounding music.
Yep. That's how it happened. And now, we've did the 7 seals. We got the 7 trumpets. We've got a little interlude in chapters 10 and 11 that we're going to get to. And then upcoming is the 7 bowls. So we have to figure out a way to annoy Bethany with the bowls. These 7 bowls of God's wrath that we'll be talking about. Hey, Meat Chamber Music, welcome to the chat.
Well, at least you didn't play the intro music with the farts.
Is that one still on there, Dustin?
Or did you guys take that one down?
I don't know. Hold on. There it is. All right, I see it.
Hello, Bethany. How
Now, you've heard trumpets, you've heard fart, but have you heard farting and trumpets in harmony?
You know, when people say they hear music when they think of someone they love, that's the kind of music I hear when I think of us.
Ah, yes. Yep. Hey, before we go, Bethany, I have a joke for you.
God, stop. No. Okay. You've been doing this to me every freaking day for 2 weeks. Just stop with the stupid jokes. They're awful.
No.
They're not funny.
Yeah, they are.
No, they're not. They're stupid.
Did you hear about the writer who broke his left arm?
No.
He's all right now.
God! Ugh. It's as bad as the angry carrot joke you told me earlier. I mean,
yes, what do you call an angry carrot?
I know what it is. Do you want me to tell it or do you want to do it?
A steamed vegetable.
Yeah.
Oh. I was waiting to annoy you with that. He's all right now one. I saved it for the show.
Like nails on a chalkboard for me. I just find them irritating.
I know, that's why I tell them so much, because they do annoy you.
They're awful. You couldn't pick a funnier joke?
I thought it was hilarious.
I'm sure, yes, you find the most dumb things hilarious.
Yes, it is very funny. Dustin thinks it's funny.
I'm not surprised.
Yes, I am the bad joke guy, Christina, and I have no qualms or shame about it at all. None, no shame.
It's such terror. They're not even funny. They're just stupid. You're like that. Okay, you're like that uncle at every holiday who, when you're really, really little, he's hilarious. As you get older, you realize he's not funny. The jokes are not funny.
They are funny.
No, they're not. They're dumb.
They are funny. And you know you like them. See, the thing is like after we get off the show, Bethany is secretly, she tells me, she's like, oh my gosh, that joke was so funny.
No, I
don't. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. I'm going to go tell all of my friends.
No.
Yep.
I never do that.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't. I never do that. Usually, I can tell you exactly what happens every time we hang up. It's, how long are you going to be, Blondie? All right, well, pick something for us to watch. No, I don't want to, because every time I do, you always say you hate it. Just pick something, Blondie. Then we get back on. Did you pick a movie for us? Yeah, I think so. What do you think of this one? I've seen it. All right, what do you think of this one? We both have seen it. What do you think of this one? And then you always end up picking a movie, and it's stupid. And that's our night.
Hey, Bethany.
What?
What is an astronaut's favorite thing on a computer keyboard?
What?
The space key.
You know, there was a woman in the 1800s that chopped up her husband and then burned him in the fireplace. I wonder if it wasn't because he told bad jokes.
What's the difference between ignorance and apathy?
What?
I don't know, and I don't care. You laugh. You laugh.
Say that, gosh.
You laughed. You laughed. See, I told y'all She thinks it's funny.
Yeah, you know what, chicken butt? Yes, I know. It's annoying.
I got one that might go over your head, Bethany.
What?
What is unique about Switzerland?
What?
I don't know, but the flag is a big plus.
God. I love how you're just so tickled by these. Oh, stupid.
I bet Dustin's laughing.
It's because you both encourage each other.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, Christina, she's looking up old school ways to kill me. If something happens, y'all know what happened is I told one too many jokes. Bethany had enough.
And if anybody's listening, they wouldn't blame me.
No. How could you kill this face? You'd miss my laugh.
Actually, I would miss you.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to know. That's comforting.
Sorry. I would. No, it's just every time I try to be all loving on you, you hold it against me or make fun of me about it.
How?
I don't know.
Now, speaking of that, I mentioned this earlier on the show, and then we'll go ahead and close out with it.
Yeah.
I wrote you this story.
Mm-hmm.
This story I was mentioning at the beginning of the show. It's the 7th of the month, and the Southern Comfort series on Godless that I write drops every month on the 7th. We're in season 2 right now, and this is the second issue of season 2 called Phantom War. And I told you at the beginning of the show how special this one is to me. It was a story I wrote while I was in rehab. I've been very open and honest with people about my struggle with alcohol addiction and overcoming it. And so this story is a metaphor for overcoming the addiction. And it was the first story that I wrote completely sober. And I wrote it on a pen, on a paper and pen while I was in rehab. It was my first attempt to try writing again. I didn't know how good I would be sober because, like I said, we all joke about Stephen King being better when he was cracked out and on alcohol. So I wrote this story, and it is a metaphor for that, but it is also a love story. I wrote it for Bethany. So it's definitely me bearing my soul in metaphor. And it's written in a very epic style, like Homer's Iliad and the Odyssey, but more modern language. Got a lot of fantasy and horror elements to it about the man with broken white wings who has to fight through a valley filled of demons and creatures and monsters, all of which I saw while I was detoxing and wrote their description down because I thought that I would be able to use these in a story one day. And I used them in this one. And he has to fight his way through this valley to be united with his love, the girl with sunlit hair and black wings. And she is waiting for him at their sacred willow tree. And he has to walk through the valley because his wings are broken. And in the story, you find out what happened to his wings and how they got broken. And so he has to go through this valley. And his last foe to face is the great dragon Abaddon, to try and be reunited with his love. Abaddon is the dragon that destroyed their entire village along with all the people that they cared about. So they are fighting to be reunited. So you've never read any of my stuff, please read this one. It's only 50 cents on Godless. It's very different than anything I've written before. And it is dedicated to my beautiful Bethany.
Aw, yeah, you can be sweet.
See? I can. I'm not just full of bad jokes and knowledge.
Ruining romantic moments.
What? I didn't ruin the romantic moment.
No, I know that never mind.
I was having it. You just ruined it.
No, I did. No, actually, to piggyback what you said, I remember distinctly when you were in rehab and you said, I'm scared I won't be able to write. And the nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
And that was whenever I said you need to write them down.
Yep. And I did. And I wrote that story while I was in rehab the whole time, the whole month I was there. I wrote every day. My first story to actually write on a piece of notebook paper, the whole thing. I still have that notebook paper, and one day I'm going to get that that paper framed or something like that. I'll do something special with it.
You should. Don't ever get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm going to keep that one. Like, I won't use it if I run out of toilet paper or anything.
Meat is like I must have missed the main topic of discussion.
What's that?
Meat said he must have missed. They must have missed the main topic.
We were doing the. We just finished up Meat a series on HP Lovecraft and the Necronomicon. We did gates 12 and 13 tonight and finished those up. But if you go back on the channel, we've got everything there, starting with the introduction and then starting with the first gate and working our way all the way through. So that's what we were doing tonight, is wrapping up this series. Oh, Meet tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we are talking about on Thursday nights is when we do Revelation. So what I teach through on the book of Revelation is vastly different than what you're going to hear coming out of TV preachers and most popular churches. This is more along the lines with what biblical scholars believe and teach. So I think you may find it pretty interesting. So you didn't miss that. All right. We'll be in Revelation tomorrow. We're kind of doing the interlude between the 6th and 7th trumpet, chapter 10. But all of the previous ones are on the channel too that we did for Revelation. It's all on there. You'll be able to find it. So, well, thank you, PW. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap the show up for tonight. Yeah, Dustin, do that. Get ordained, and we'll have Bethany and I's clown wedding. No, you know what we need to do, Dustin? We need to put me in like a big giant Jack-in-the-Box and wheel me down and have me jump out at Bethany, dressed as a scary clown.
What is wrong with the two of you?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I see Dustin said. Dustin likes it.
Of course he does. You both would think that recreating the Tales from the Crypt episode, cutting the cards, is a good idea.
Well, it is. That's you and me.
Actually, yeah, it is. Like that would be you and me if we were just friends.
Yes, it would be.
Especially when he said he was going to pickle his friend's fingers.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good one. Meet. I see your question. We will answer that question when we get there. It's not your typical answer of what you hear in modern day preachers. I can promise you that. So you may get a better feel. Go back and watch some of the videos and stuff. It's all on there. But we are an hour and a half in. So, Bethany, you got anything else?
No, just sweet dreams, everybody.
All right. Well, thank y'all all for listening and tuning in. Stick around. I'm scrolling through the videos right now. We've got a video that we play at the end of every show. So if y'all want to stick around, Dustin has made this for us, and we want you to sit back and enjoy it. Thank you, everybody, for hopping on tonight and hanging out with us and wrapping up our series on the Necronomicon. Thank you, Bethany, for coming up here at the end.
You're welcome.
So
My pleasure.
You're what?
My pleasure.
All right. We will be back tomorrow night for Immortal Shadows at 8 p.m. Central and 9 Eastern. So we will see y'all then.
Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? Nowhere to go, so far from home. Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? So I break these walls and hold my head up high, and I swear my ground until the day I die. As the rain falls down, there's no more tears to cry. So I break these walls and hold my head up high. No, I'm not giving in. No, I'm not giving.